Hi everybody, I'm Nici from theLEAP. Welcome to the latest series of growth tactics, where we're going to be taking a deep dive into new technology that's changing the way recruitment companies can generate new business. And today we're going to be talking about Clay, which has proved to be an absolute game changer for our clients this year.
Founder of a company called Syun Consulting, and we work specifically with recruitment businesses on a range of CRM, tech, data, automation, now AI related areas. My background in recruitment goes back, almost 19 years.
Yeah, because you owned a recruitment company.
I did, yeah, exactly. So I started up a recruitment company with my two siblings, and we built it up, and then we sold it. But I was a techie before I got into recruitment. I was sitting on a trading floor, creating rather advanced spreadsheets for bonds and equities traders. So I'm a techie at heart. I landed in recruitment, and then after selling the business, I wanted to stay in recruitment, but put that focus on especially that tech and data side of things, because I just saw from my own experience of running a recruitment business that so many businesses are just kind of really missing a trick with all this kind of stuff. So
I bet it makes such a difference having been on the other side. So you've basically walked in your client's shoes ultimately.
Yeah, I don't hesitate to remind them of that as well. Actually.
Yeah.
It creates that empathy, right? Because I've sat in their chair. I know what the challenges are of getting their staff to update the CRM. I know what it's like when clients can be clients sometimes, and honestly, I mean, I remember giving a talk actually at a networking event to a room of about 60 recruitment business leaders. This was in like March last year, and I said to them, look, and I was talking about tech and all that kind of stuff, right? And I said to them at that time, there's a tool coming out, have it on your radar. It's called Clay, and I think it went over people's heads at that point, because like, well, okay, that's another tool that's floating around there. It's going to get superseded by something else, but it's gone on leaps and bounds. The product that I saw 18 months ago is transformed now in terms of all the AI stuff it plugs into. I mean, they've had a massive round of funding recently, which is just obviously going to help things. And what I think is great about it is this is just, and I hope we can make this sort of clear over the course of this session, is this is never about just another bit of kit in your stack, just so you've got it for vanity or whatever it is, and another thing that you need to worry about. This is something that can, if done properly, it can take a massive burden away from people that you've got in your business doing this kind of stuff, to saving you a load of time, and for them to actually focus on more productive activities, like actually speaking to people, rather than researching, rather than going finding contact details, rather than crafting these little emails and then sending them out and waiting for responses. Right, these things take days and weeks for people to do.
I think some of our clients, although they use it because they're not directly using it themselves, obviously they're outsourcing it, I still feel like there's a bit of confusion over what it actually is. So it's not an email marketing tool.
No.
It ultimately it does kind of replace your Crunchbase, your Hunter, your Apollo, because people have got, I know most recruitment companies will have subscriptions with various tools like that. I mean, how would you describe it?
Yeah. I mean, I've had people to message me saying, "Oh, we're going to trial Clay and see what we can do with it." I was like, "Okay, all right, good luck." I mean, just look at it, it just looks like a spreadsheet, right?
Yeah.
But it talks. The kind of killer features of it is that it just talks to some very clever other technology providers out there, and again, you can pull that information in, you can analyze it, you can format it, you can manipulate it within Clay to then produce what you need to know. That's the essence of it, really, to connect to, I think they say 75 plus data providers.
Yeah.
That's not to even include things like when you can connect to ChatGPT and all these sorts of things to bring that data in, run some analysis on it through AI, and just give you just really clear outputs. And whether you want to take those outputs and then put them into your marketing tool like Smart Lead or Instantly or Lemlist, you could do that. Whether you want key things identified and flagged to certain people in the business through a Slack channel or something like that, you could do that. Whether you want to take that information and then fire it into your CRM, you could do that as well. The great thing I like about it is the level of control that you have over it. It's not like, oh, this is how it works, and sorry, that's how you got to use it, and tough luck if you want something else. You could do so much more with it, and that's the great thing. And that's probably where people like me are coming in, and other people in the space that understand Clay, where they can actually design specifically from what clients need, very bespoke, a very bespoke kind of table for them, really, based on exactly what they're after. Um, creating that information, enriching it, and then firing it off, or just handing it to them. Whatever you want to do, right? These things are all possible. I know some people are like, oh well, I don't want these AI generated emails going out, which is fine. That's not a problem. You don't have to have them, right? You said, well, no, I don't want them, but actually, just give me a list of people that I need to know about. I think so. That's one of the things where you can just take it connects to all sorts of things. The other thing which is very powerful is again, I've been looking at this from perspective of what do recruitment businesses do on a daily basis, and what are those tasks that they could really be made, like I said, just made slicker, and not require so much human effort. However, still produce a very high level of quality around that. One of the things, for example, is looking around for open jobs. People, because recruitment consultants will come in the morning, go on LinkedIn or a job board, see who's hiring, see fresh jobs. Oh, okay, they're hiring. Let me get hold of them. Let me give them a shout. Let me find their contact details. Let me do this. You can automate this kind of stuff through Clay, because it's predefined, right? You want to know. You look for a marketing manager a marketing manager in Manchester. You just set up an alert kind of thing. So constantly look at LinkedIn, Indeed, job boards, company web pages, and it just bang. As soon as somebody's hiring, you get alerted on that, and it actually doesn't only do that. It can go off to that company, find key people at that business, whether it's the job poster or key people. Let's say you're hiring for a marketing manager and a vacancy pops up. You can say, okay, if you find a marketing manager, go and find the head of marketing at that company or the CMO, and get me their contact details, and then knock up an email through AI based on that role that they're hiring. This is stuff that people are doing. They are actually, there's thousands of hours being spent across recruitment businesses every day on this kind of stuff. Why aren't you doing that? And that's something that I've had feedback from my clients saying, if there's one thing we could do, that would be it, because it's very it's revenue generating ultimately, and if they're going to invest anything initially, that's definitely where it's going to be. So I've just been building out workflows now to say, okay, cool, give me the roles that you're after, where you want them located. And even last night I sent some stuff over to a client because they gave me some criteria. I said, look, this is what we can find. Imagine having that on a daily basis. How much time would that save you? How much more effective is it? And they're loving it, because they're like,
Yeah.
this is stuff we're doing anyway. Why not invest in a bit of tech, and it's doing it consistently, constantly, to really high quality. Like I said, this is the key process that recruitment businesses are doing, and it doesn't make sense why you wouldn't want to kind of automate that to automate that to a very high level.
Normally, when a client comes to us, it's to do with lead generation,
Yeah.
and it always kind of has been, even way back to my days at Faden. It was that. But when I think now, what we used to call or share, even as a lead, every company has its own sort of terms, whether it's a marketing qualified lead, a sales qualified lead, a prospect. They've all got sort of different criteria for each. But when I look at the information we used to actually share, I'm almost like embarrassed. Now we've started using Clay. So, for example, if we've generated, like salary guides, as an example, most recruitment companies generate salary guides, normally ask for some information when they're downloaded: first name, last name, email. But as a marketing team, we're always juggling with that. Ask too many questions and you see a drop off in submissions. Ask too little and you're not sharing enough with the sales team, and it's sort of useless data. With like discovering Clay, that has just switched. Like the quality we're able to share, taking it from like not being another bit of kit, like not just adding something on, but actually it's now like the centerpiece of everything we do, which I actually can't believe I'm saying that, but it's sounding a bit dramatic, but it's just at the center of everything now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the point you make there about what is defined as a lead, I've seen it so many businesses, and then like, oh, just get, as long as you've got a name, that's a lead. Oh, seriously, come on, there's got to be more to it than that kind of thing. And this is it, isn't it, with Clay? It's just about potentially taking just a snippet of information, so you're not causing that person who wants to download the salary survey to fill out everything we need to know about them. It's actually just gives just give us a little bit. We don't need to do too much. So you're not putting them off from actually filling that out and then downloading it. So they still download it. You get that snippet of information, and then you just extrapolates through Clay, because it just fires through there, and then it just kind of, like I said, just feeds you with that relevant information that you need to then segment them, target them, approach them with some relevancy and some purpose, and hopefully get more response and better response from that person ultimately. I'm doing some research for a client at the moment, and we're obtaining email addresses, and we want to validate them, because one thing I'm really big on, and we will talk on this, I'm sure, later, about the infrastructure and make sure that your list is of good quality to prevent falling foul of spam filters and things like that. So validating information, verifying emails before you start putting them on a list and start falling foul of these rules, kind of thing. So I kind of what Clay allows you to do is, like, you got an email address and you put it through one tool, for example, like Hunter, and say, look, validate it. Hunter comes back saying, well, we're not sure. So then you're like, okay, well, I don't really want to take that risk. So then you can set it up so it goes, okay, if Hunter fails, put it to this other tool, which is maybe a little bit more expensive.
That's the waterfall.
That's the waterfall.
Yeah,
that's the waterfall. Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of like it's going along, and once it finds something, then it'll kind of stop. So that's the clever thing. And normally you'd have to have subscriptions to 5 different tools and buy credits from all those, whereas you could just do it all in one place easily. And the other thing, which really need to emphasize, is doing it at scale. Right, it's like you're not just putting in one email address saying, "Oh, just check this," because that's pointless. But you're dropping in a list of, like, these are people that we want to find, and then doing it in scale as well. And that kind of leads me on to the other bigger piece around where Clay can add value to a recruitment business. And as you'll probably know better than me, in honesty, is around the quality the quality of data that people have sitting in their CRM. It's perhaps not the greatest. It's not normally kept up to date as much as it should do. Especially contact data, because people move jobs, as we know, who work in recruitment. But then who updates that in the CRM? It's very rare that kind of somebody accurately says, "Oh, they've left that company, they've joined here." It just gets overlooked, kind of thing. So this is a big thing that I help clients with it, especially when they want to embark on marketing campaigns, or they want to become smarter with automation. It's actually taking their data, analysing it, identifying hard bounces, things like that, which is easy enough to do. You just take it all out and put it through never bounce. All right, easy. You don't need to Clay for that if you don't really want to. But where it becomes clever is then start actually getting a deeper understanding of the businesses in your CRM already, and use AI for that. Doing very deep research on these businesses to really identify, well, what do they do? How can we, how does that align with the service that we're offering and the type of people that we recruit for? And then scoring them as well. And I'm sure we will come to it later about lead scoring. But that's another thing, right? You've got 20,000 companies in your data in your CRM. Okay, you might be working with 5% of them, in honesty, if you're lucky, and the other 95%. You probably don't know much about. Somebody's just added them as a lead and moved on, and not really done much with. You may have had a vacancy from them 3 years ago, but never really done anything since. This is the opportunity to actually take that data, validate it, enrich it, and actually understand more about it. So then you can then use that to put into a marketing campaign, dedicate people within the business to say, okay, cool, we know these things about these businesses. Right, that team's going to take that team's going to take those accounts, and you just approach it that way. It's just about, again, that's the big value thing, I think. Taking that, your existing data in your CRM, and it actually doesn't matter which CRM you're on. Honestly, it's because you can just export that out in a CSV. In all honesty, put it into Clay, use some cleverness to kind of run these validations, explore further using AI, and just really give you very tangible outputs in terms of what you need to know. And if you're clear on that, what you need to know before you actually do this, you'll be in a far better place, because you can just gear everything towards, listen, I've got these companies. I want to know if they've hired for a DevOps engineer in the last 6 months. That's all I need to know. If they have, give them a score of 10. All right, cool. We can do that. Do all that. Go off, find out what they've been hiring for. Yep. Look at their headcount growth. See if they've had more than 10% growth in the last 3 years. Have they had any funding? Cool. Right. These are things that are going to really kind of like bump them up and give them a higher score. this is stuff you could do with the existing data. Don't need to go off and buy anything. You've just got it sitting right there. Why don't you do something with it?
So it's a contact form. Most companies would be used to that coming directly to the sales team, just as is, almost like straight off the website. Content downloads, it might depend what it is. You might treat it slightly differently. Might send it into a sequence to warm it up a bit first, warm that contact up before passing it over as a lead. But now what we're doing is taking that data, putting it into Clay, enriching it, and then only when we've qualified that it's actually useful information, sharing it with sales. Because as a marketing, I think this is most marketing functions everywhere. We get very excited when anything comes through and there's a download, regardless of the quality. And often it's a bit of it feels like a bit of a come down when the sales team come back, wrong country. Like these, no, that's a competitor.
Yeah.
No, that's like my neighbour who's just testing out. So if we can remove all of that and stop the noise, then when something comes through to sales, we've done 99% of the research bit for them.
Yeah.
Like you said, all those criteria. So shall we have a look at how that could look?
I mentioned earlier, Nici, typically you don't want to overload them with information that they need to submit. So let's just focus on that form itself that they're using to actually download the document. We're literally just asking for company name, their name, and their email address. So very, very basic information. We don't ask for anything else. And they click on submit. And then with Clay, it connects to pretty much anything through APIs or native integrations or webhooks. So we're going to just bring that information into Clay. Just those 4 fields: name, company name, last name, and email address. And then from there, really going to start putting it through the machine and seeing what we can find from there. Really.
So, could a marketing team connect with Clay directly without any dev support, would you say?
I think so. Yeah, exactly. You've got to be on the right plan in order to do that. It depends on which application it is, but it's easy enough to do. It's taking an API key from the application you want to connect to, putting it in here, the two talk to each other. It's honestly, you can do it in 5 minutes, and honestly, you don't need any developer. If anybody says they're going to do it and charge you a day rate for that type of stuff, honestly, go the other way.
So you hook it up. So for all our, but not all, but majority of our clients, their sites are on WordPress. Like we use Forminator a lot when we're plugins.
Yeah.
So through that Forminator's got its own API. That I presume just
whether it's WP Form, Forminator, through WordPress, it's got loads of plugins, right?
Yeah.
It's just about getting WordPress talks to everything as well, so it's not difficult to capture that information. There's probably there could well be a plugin that it just allows you to extract that anyway and drop it somewhere. So that's the beauty of APIs now. You can just get things talking to each other.
So we hook that in then automatically. So we're looking at a table now that's got that information in. So company name, first name, last name, and email.
Yeah.
So that would pull through automatically.
Yeah, we're going to kind of go across, and and this is really where we mentioned about a waterfall enrichment comes in. There are some with kind of similar names, so it's found a potential match there, but it's actually been quite good. I'll come to it later and actually identify that correct person because we've got the company name, because we've got their email address. We're actually able to identify the actual person. But let's take this middle example where it's automatically definitely 100% match for that person. So it doesn't necessarily need to then start hitting these other tools because we've already found that. So that's a way of being more economical with your credits. So you set rules to only run this if this one fails. So these ones haven't run because we found decent enough information
straight away.
Yeah, exactly. And then from there, once it's found them, it's finding social profiles. So it finds their LinkedIn profile.
Mm-hmm.
This is gold, by the way. If you get a LinkedIn profile, people, and I keep telling people when you update people in your CRM, get their LinkedIn profile because that you can just find out so much more from them using enrichment when they started, where they worked before, how long they've been there.
Stuff from their summary is quite handy.
Exactly, where they're based. All this kind of stuff is just sitting there. It's not hidden. It's not cordoned off. This is information accessible, but people just don't use it very effectively. And certainly, look in people's CRMs, there's commonly people are trying to find people. Show me a contact based in Basingstoke, 20 miles from there, and you get 10 results. Where because you're just not you haven't radius enabled for radius search because you're not their location. If you've got their LinkedIn URL, it's possible to go off, find out where they live, so you don't where their sort of hometown is, and then from there populate the CRM with that, so that's if it's Basingstoke, then you can start getting results from there. So that's something we've seen with good effect, especially clients that want to target certain areas, saying, listen, I need to focus on clients based in people do stuff in the Northwest, in Yorkshire, all this kind of stuff. They're missing a trick because they just don't have that level of information about people.
LinkedIn profiles are like a goldmine, like you say, of information, as we know. I think where we really like getting the LinkedIn profile such a time saver in terms of if marketing teams using other tools, not to veer off, but like Dripify or any other for like LinkedIn outreach. We use a tool that automatically engages with specific profiles' social posts. So it likes up to 1,000 posts a day from like target lists. So we're now feeding them into here, getting their LinkedIn profiles, and then using that data to put into Dripify to start like individual engagement sequences. 2, we're also importing those to create targeted audiences for LinkedIn ads, just so we're like getting that same visibility amongst the same audience across different platforms. And then feeding them into a tool we use for that engagement piece. So we're also liking their posts, and then it just feels like with all those bases covered, when we do get onto email, which we're no doubt going to talk about, the chances of that, I recognise that name. They connected with me on LinkedIn. They've been liking my posts. And now they're emailing me. It's nice. And all that just from this.
Definitely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Honestly, it's golden information. So I encourage people to be capturing that when they're adding contacts and candidates to their CRM. And again, from there, what we were able to do is then go for find job title. And remember, this is just from them giving you their company name, their name, and their email address, right? You found their job title, you found stuff about their company domain, and that's important. I'll kind of come to that later. Their company URL, LinkedIn URL, that's important again, because then you can really get a deeper understanding about that business. What I mean predominantly is how big they are. Whether you can find out their revenue. We now found all the jobs that they've got open on LinkedIn at this moment in time, so you know what they're hiring for. Again, this stuff can be. I've got it sitting here, but again, you can drill down on this, and it will tell you, what those jobs are, job description, they'd hire for a risk analyst, all this kind of stuff. You can even push this out to a separate table if need be.
So that
to now, okay, we now know they've got 60 jobs, so that's going to make people perk up and think, oh right, they're getting touched, so they're hiring. Wow, that's fantastic. And then from there, what we're able to do is actually just analyze their headcount growth. So over here, I've done it from 3 years ago. They had 286. Now they've got almost 400 people. So it shows you that they're on a bit of an upward trajectory in terms of hiring. That's always a positive sign. And then from there, we're plugging in a bit of AI in, obviously. And again, this is the kind of stuff where you really control it. So I've just put in there, just give me a one-liner about this company in summary after it's reviewed. That's why we needed the domain to actually go off onto their domain and say, okay, you've looked at SumUp or iWalker, whatever it is. Now give me a one-line summary about exactly what this business does. But we're doing stuff at the moment where clients are actually saying, well, it's not good enough for me to actually know a little bit about what they do. I want to know if they specialize in this, if they've got this, how many people operate in their sales department. You do that. That's why we grabbed the company domain. That's another golden bit of information.
So in what you do you mainly focus on the data enrichment and then they handle their outbound email, like going off the back of this? Or is that something you work with them on as well?
Predominantly where a lot of my stuff is coming at the moment is that enrichment piece. Because that's my bag. I'm kind of like, listen, let's take your data or get some data and just be really, really very clever with it. This is stuff we could do. So I'm kind of just feeding them. So here you go, here you go, here you go.
Yeah, because we then do the email marketing piece through Smart Leads, and I'm trying to watch closely at the minute. We're doing like a bit of testing between the really precise response, like personalized email outreach, factoring in some of those things that have been said.
Yeah.
But then I'm really keen to see how it pans out. I don't know what the answer is yet, but I'm keen to see it. Sometimes I feel like when it's so personalized, it's almost like suspicious.
Exactly.
Like,
it's stalky kind of.
Has anyone ever, maybe sales teams out there will be saying every email I ever write is always well researched and targeted. But we're trying to see like what basically gets the best response. Whether it's still pulling in like those some details, or whether going through the full enrichment route. But I don't have the answer yet.
I think I know the good thing about again doing all this kind of stuff in here is this response, this stuff that we're feeding in AI. Again, we've just taken the domain that said, just give me a one-liner, review the website, give me a one-liner of what they're all about. So when the sales team looks at it, so bang, they don't have to figure it out. It already tells them. But you've got loads of data touch points that are happening across there.
Yeah.
You could say, well, kind of give me an average of kind of what their headcount growth has been over the last 3 years. We've got that information. We just drop it in there. It will average it out. It'll tell you that. So it gives you some metrics. It could tell you that, they've got 60 jobs. Review all those jobs and highlight the ones that have been open the longest. You know what I mean? And that's like, okay, so they're struggling with those, right? You'd imagine. So you're not going to worry about the other 57 jobs. You're going to go after, well, see, you've got this job,
It's been
open a while, isn't it? How can we help? You know what I mean? So
you can see how that would prompt
all that information is sitting there. It's just about what do you want to do with it? And this is where I'm probably stepping in, saying, well, this is stuff you can use. Let's just, like I said, let's build out a really good picture, and now let's do something with it. Because that's the key thing. Again, you've just seen it as well. Like people getting data, gathering it, hoarding it, doing absolutely nothing with it. And it's out of date, and it's just sitting there. It's the GDPR kind of goes out the window with all that kind of stuff because God knows where it's being stored and kept, and God knows what's being done with it. Do it through here. It's controlled. It's consistent, and it allows you to be effective with it and actually, get results from it.
So I hope that's helped give you a bit of an intro into how you can use Clay to enrich the data that you're already getting through from web forms and things like that. In the next episode, we're going to be looking at lead scoring, which I know is another big area when it comes to bringing marketing and sales closer together. So thanks for joining. Hopefully you've asked some questions on the chat, and if you've got anything further you'd like to chat about, get in touch with either of us directly. Always happy to help. See you next time. Thanks so much.
Thank you.